Now that Amber is open, we can see all the autonomy workflows that are here. What we'll do is we'll go to edit a vehicle and we'll go to select a vehicle, and then we'll choose the compact gasoline automatic transmission vehicle and click OK. So that loads the vehicle. Now what we'll do is we'll find the location for the electrical accessories. And we locate the electrical accessories here in the tree. So what we'll do is we'll now import that FMU model for the electrical accessories at this location. So what we'll do is we'll go here and we'll go import and select the model. What we actually want to do is we want to select the wrapper model, FMU wrap, because that's what's wrapping our FMU. So we'll select this one and click open, because the model has to be within a subsystem to import it into Autonomie. So MATLAB opens, it goes through the import process. And then we click OK. Let's make sure our version of MATLAB is correct here. It's at 2019A. So we want to make sure we have the right version of MATLAB. So we want to use 2022B. So we'll save and close, because the model was developed with 2022B. So we'll save and close. What that'll do is it'll reopen MATLAB to a different version. It's just that that model saved in 2022B isn't compatible with 19B. So we have to switch the version here in project settings. So now that that model has been selected, or the MATLAB version has been changed, we'll do import and select model. So again, FMU wrapper. You can see down here in the bottom messages here for what it's importing. One thing we want to do is all the tabs here are okay. We have signals, input and output signals, input signals, output signals. We have parameters and file compatibilities. We want to just make that one file, the one that we added to the project, compatible. So we'll make this file compatible here, and we'll click Save. So that's the electrical accessory file that we're using. And now what we'll do is we'll save this as a new vehicle. So we go to the Edit a Vehicle tab, and we go to Save a Vehicle, and we will put this vehicle in the test section of the vehicle tree here, and we'll just label it. We'll give it a description with FMU in the name, and we'll just give it an FMU name here. Let's just put it in the top level of the systems folder. It's easy to find, and then we'll click OK. So that will save the vehicle out with the new model. And then what we'll do next is we'll go to Run a Vehicle and open up the Run a Vehicle workflow. Then we'll go to the first node in the tree, most recently used, and select the FMU vehicle here. So now that vehicle loads, we'll go to select the process and choose the 505. and we'll go to run a simulation, and then we'll just double check to make sure that this session of MATLAB is still open, the one in which we ran the share MATLAB for FMU co-simulation. So with that version still open, we'll click launch. And it will build the diagram and it will run the simulation. At the same time, we should see the co-simulation window open. Oh, so this is a common problem here. So let's work around this problem. One thing that happened, we can open the model here. So let's open the model. We'll right click and then we'll say open file. So the one thing we have to be careful here is it's not opening with the right version of MATLAB. It's actually opening with R2013B. So let's close that. And then let's actually go into the session of MATLAB we have open here and open it. So the last version of MATLAB that was installed in this machine is 23B, so it's going to default opening it with that. But our example here is running 2022B. 2022B and 23A should work. There are issues sometimes that could happen with 2023B. Seems like some of the DLLs that are required to build the Linux and the Mac versions aren't always included during the Windows install. So if that occurs, you might get an issue that's a little bit opaque, but that's only when generating the FMU. So that's unrelated to doing anything at this stage within Amber. So the problem that we're having right now, the reason why we had an error is because we don't have the file name matching the subsystem name. So we have to change the subsystem name here. Because the building is assuming that whatever file name you have is going to match this subsystem name. Make sure it's in the right case and everything, and we're in 2022B, so we save it, and then we close it. Okay, so we haven't select a process, run a simulation, so now we'll launch it again. So now we could see that it builds the vehicle. It's now assembling the model from all the subsystem models that appear in that table, one of which is the electrical accessory model. Now you can see that it's opening the project. In the other session of MATLAB, it opens that project up. It's the FMU model that we had before. So what we can do, let's just close this and say no, let's close it. What we can do is we can close this One thing we can check is we can go to the project folder here. One thing, and then we can initialize the workspace, and then we can open up the model. And we can click run. And that other session of MATLAB, let's close this. Let's open up a second session of MATLAB. I want to make sure I get the command for executing, which is I have it under the model folder there for the FMU. So we go there. We'll try to run it outside MATLAB just to see what the error message is. Possibly I need to change the solver settings so that they match the solver settings of the parent diagram. So we'll create another version of MATLAB, or launch another instance of MATLAB. This is 2022B. So what I'll do is I'll set this one up for share MATLAB for FMU co-simulation. Okay, now that's set up. Now in this one we have the main diagram, so I'll click play here. Loading that mat file, so the only thing you need to rerun that simulation is the mat file, data_init.mat, and then the diagram. And the question marks are here because I hadn't set the path. The pictures aren't there. Okay, so what we'll have to do is reboot the system because I think there's a little bit of confusion between the versions. So we'll reboot it and try it again.